Hey there, everyone. Today was a pretty good day. Let's get into it. When I got up this morning, I was greeted with the amazing smell of recooked barbacoa. Turns out that our family friend was making some in the morning for me and my mom and her. In the midst of cooking it, she suggested, "Hey guys, would you be interested in having some huevos rancheros with the barbacoa?" Not one to turn out an offer for delicious food. Of course, we both said yes. So she got to cooking, and when she was done with her meal, or with our meal, which I did help out, by the way, I got 2 garlic cloves, unskinned them, and gave them to her. She threw them in with the meat to give it an extra flavor kick, and then she fried up some corn tortillas, fresh corn tortillas, mind you, and put the eggs on top with the meat on top of the eggs. And boy, oh boy, was it delicious. I had two, and both my mom and our family friend had one. Although my family friend decided to go a little bit extra with the mug of barbacoa broth, which personally I would not eat because I've seen barbacoa after it's been sitting out for a little while or when it's put in the fridge, and the fat content in that is a lot to the point of being concerning, perhaps artery clogging even. But again, that's just my opinion. Yeah. But anywho, we enjoyed each other's company. We talked together. It was pretty great. After which my mom suggested, "Hey, how about you and me go on a walk around the neighborhood for an hour?" And I accepted because I wanted to enjoy the weather for the day. I thought the weather was very good. So, our family friend, who is currently healing from a leg injury, of course, wasn't able to go. So, went into my room, put on my socks and shoes, and grabbed my phone so I could time our walk. And my mom was also ready. We went off. So, we went on for an hour, and we had a good, nice walk. Good discussion. Everything went well. We enjoyed each other's company, and we enjoyed the beautiful weather and the sunshine. Nothing to really complain about. When we arrived back home, my sister was outside, and she greeted us. I completely forgot to mention, before leaving, my mom suggested putting on some sunscreen so I wouldn't get sunburned. So, of course, I did that. But the thing is that the sunscreen was so thick that it kept the whiteness on my face throughout the entirety of the day. I probably put a little too much sunscreen on. Probably not a good idea. But, well, at least I was well protected from the sun. So, we greeted my sister. She said hello. And when we went inside, I got a donut and a pinwheel. I made a cup of coffee. I went into my room, and when I arrived in my room, I turned on my TV, and I was just scrolling for something to watch with my food. I was like, okay, what can I watch? What can I watch to entertain my mind while I entertain my taste buds? Was the logic I was going through. Until eventually I came across a video that I actually was watching yesterday where YouTube channel Jesse Michaels was interviewing a guy who claims to have been abducted by aliens and also has gotten alien implants. And he said that the situation affected him so much that he has caused serious research in the field, where he has looked for various other contactees who claim to have had implants in their body as well. So I thought, this is interesting. Let's see what we got here. I found it pretty interesting overall. I mean, the most interesting thing I remember from it was the fact they said that like the material was made of like different isotopes that would be way too expensive to replicate here on Earth based on some scientific research and tests he was doing. And yeah, that was probably the more like memorable thing that was shared there. But yeah, everything else was kind of like, it's kind of hard to follow. I decided to look at the comments to see what everyone else had to say. Apparently, everyone thought the guy was baloney bending and that he didn't have anything really like, truthful or valid to say, because a lot of it was just like sounded made up and far-fetched, and a lot of it seemed like he had an answer for everything and that he was well versed in alien lore to the point that it was coincidental, to the point where it may have felt like he was more of a storyteller than a true abductee slash researcher. I will say that I wasn't really paying attention to those subtle signs while I was watching it, but then they mentioned that apparently he found an alien implant using a stud finder, which sounds ridiculous. And I guess I wasn't paying close enough attention to that. I kind of half listen to those things while I do like others things. Probably not a good way of absorbing information. Maybe you should, if you're going to spend your valuable time and energy listening to something, you should absorb the whole thing so you know what you're getting yourself into instead of half listening to it because it's just based on a subject that you find interesting. So my bad on that part. But yeah, I was listening to that or reading those comments and I was like, wow, that sounds ridiculous. And the most ridiculous thing that I remember reading from it was the fact that apparently there was remote controlled raccoons that had implants that the aliens put inside that were like scouts for them to find the proper people to abduct. I think this is what like the guy said. And when I say that out loud, that sounds ridiculous, absolutely farcical. I don't know why, like a detail like that really should have popped out at me, but for whatever reason, I was more interested in the science and like the isotopes and like, what do these things look like? And his story of what like he saw and all that. But ultimately, when I was reading the comments, I saw the people break down his story. And yeah, I mean, to be fair though, I don't remember any of what the comments were saying. Perhaps it would be good to check the timestamps of what they were talking about, go to those timestamps and then re-listen to see if that's really what he said. Because like I said, I only was half paying attention when I first was listening to it yesterday before continuing to watch it later today. So I don't really remember any of that more outlandish stuff. But yeah, pretty funny. Well, after I was done eating my pinwheel, my donut, drinking my coffee, watching the video, I decided to go do some meditation for about an hour. In my room, I listened to some binaural beats and I was trying to get into a deep state of relaxation, meditation to see if I could really, I don't know, just have some mental clarity, some peace, just enjoying stillness in the present moment. But then my mom called me. She needed help with purchasing some things on Amazon. So I decided to help her out. So I got those things but no, well, she got them. I had a Prime account. She didn't. She wanted to use my account to get those things so she could get the deals for Prime. In exchange, would pay for the material through service for me. So the cost I would be spending would be covered. So since that was agreed upon, I accepted the terms and I got the things. And yeah, those things should be heading towards here soon. Ultimately, basically home improvement. So yeah, pretty cool. Taking care of business. Afterwards, I remember I decided to listen to a Simeon Jimmy video podcast where the host Simeon Jimmy was talking with Eggy Eggman Rodriguez and Idrich McCoy on the Tigger movie, and they were basically like talking about who's the best Winnie the Pooh character, and they all agreed it was like Tigger and ER are both the best characters in the entire series, and how everyone else is just mid-tier. They were talking about like the implications that the Tigger movie might have that were very eyebrow-raising. It was a hilarious podcast. I really enjoyed it quite a lot. And as I was listening to that, I was cooking up some chicken tenders in the back convection oven in the back room. Warmed it up 350 for around 28 minutes, and when I took it out, it was cooked to perfection. Perfectly moist, tender and soft in the middle, and a nice crisp at the edges with the breading. And I had that with some Chick-fil-A sauce and then a Dr. Pepper zero sugar. After I was done eating that, I pretty much went into my room. I chatted with Claude a little bit about how I could potentially optimize my scheduling, get better at being more adherent to my long-term goals, because right now I'm not really. I kind of put them off and instead help out with the family or like distract myself with podcasts or videos or things. So I understand what I'm doing, and like I know like I'm allocating too much time on things that are ultimately distracting me than building into my future. I realize that, and I was trying to see if I could, get some insight from Claude to see if maybe I could perhaps I could see if it had some advice. And apparently, it said you need to give as much friction to the things that distract you as much as possible, and as little friction to the things that will build into their future as much as possible. For example, I think I've come up with a good idea. Perhaps instead of immediately going on my phone when I wake up, how about I put my phone on a charger and put it all the way in like 2 rooms away from where I sleep, and then I just go to bed without my phone. And then when I wake up, I could either walk all the way to like the other room to get my phone, or I could go to my computer, turn it on, and have my editing and drawing software primed and ready to go, so I can immediately get to work on the projects that will actually give me a credible future to look forward to. So I need to think along those terms, be more strategic with how I how I spend my time moment by moment, so I don't suck it all away just entertaining myself and having nothing to show for my lived experience. So yeah, pretty good. I then got I then decided to browse YouTube, just scrolling. I found out that Chuck Norris died on the 19th of March of this year, something that I was completely unaware of until just today. And I found this out when I clicked on a video where Chuck Norris reads his top 10 favorite Chuck Norris jokes. And yeah, it was a shock to find that out, because like the Chuck Norris jokes were kind of like a childhood staple for me growing up. I remember listening to them and thinking they were so funny. Like one of my favorites is when Chuck Norris left to go to college at age 18, he told his father, "You're the man of the house now." Another one I like was when the boogeyman goes to sleep, he checks his closet for Chuck Norris. That's really funny. And when Superman goes to sleep, he wears Chuck Norris pajamas. So, things that are funny. The cool thing about Chuck Norris when he was reading the jokes is that you could tell that the guy was really humble. Like he didn't have an inflated ego or say, "Yes, I am the best." No, he was like just laughing at the absurdity about what he was reading, which I thought was really cool. Oh, that's worrying. My favorite blue point pen that helps me write things is I help it write things because I'm the one in control, not the pen. The tip is missing. Oh, that's a shame. I guess I'll find it after recording this video. Now it's going to be scratching at the back of my head. Well, anywho, moving forward. So yeah, I completely got off track there. Oh yeah, Chuck Norris. But yeah, it was a very funny thing. And then after that, on the YouTube feed, under that video, I read some news that shocked me. And that was that apparently Sora announced that the video generation app will be closing. And they announced that today, which I found surprising. I assumed that people were getting a lot out of the app and that they were having a hoot and hollering fun time with it, but apparently OpenAI doesn't see it as a viable thing to continue. And the even better news is that Disney, who was originally investing $1 billion into OpenAI's Sora platform so they could use it to generate AI content on their Disney Plus app, have pulled their funding after the announcement. Honestly, this is great news for creatives who want entirely human-made stories. Although for people who did enjoy using the app to create anything that their mind came up with, it is kind of sad for them. But broadly for the general professional entertainment industry, it's good because now there's not this big ominous threat of a AI generator taking the jobs of hardworking people who have built a living from making entertainment, at least for Disney for now. Maybe there will be a new video generator that comes along that's like Sora that might even be better than Sora that Disney sees and decides to put $1 billion in that. The fact they were willing to do that in the first place tells me that they probably were, going to do that regardless. And now that Sora's backing down and they pulled their funding, You would hope that this would give them pause and make them realize that humans want human-created content that they pay for. If the AI generated content is free, then and it's just made for the lulz, for memes or whatever, then it's fine. But if it's like something that's supposed to be genuine entertainment that's meant to actually be paid for and have professional quality behind it, then using AI for it is like which takes the jobs of like actors and artists away, then that's when we have problems, which sucks. But I guess this is a good blip, maybe indicating that perhaps things are going away direction that will be good long term for both the creative industry and for people who are highly against AI generated videos. Of course, there are still quite a few video generators out there. It's not just Sora. Grok has one with Imagine 1. There's also Kling 3. There is Seed Dance 2 by CapCut. There's Google's Vimeo, or not Vimeo, Veo, VEO, Veo 3, and they're probably going to release an updated version called Veo 4 sometime this year. So even though Sora is bowing out, the race is still on for the other models. So I asked Google, why is there stopping of Sora from OpenAI? And apparently the reason was that a retention on the app dropped by 37% after the app initially launched, indicating that users found it more of a novelty than a mainstay, and got bored of it rather quickly after its launch. And then the other reason was because that running Sora, especially a model that pretty much allows you to have a lot of free generations daily, was extremely expensive and impractical to keep up for free for a long time. They were probably losing lots of money by just having it available for people to use for free. And so they had two options: either just introduce a paid plan where you have to pay a subscription price and have a number of generations allowed per month, or just shut the whole thing down and use the data to train other models instead. And looks like Sora decided, or looks like OpenAI decided to go that route. So yeah, Sora is going to be shuttered, which means that if you just so happen to generate a lot of Sora videos, you probably want to start downloading those right now so they're not lost to time. But yeah, pretty wild. Rest in peace, Sora. However, the API, which I gotta be honest, I don't know what API stands for. All I know is that it's like the source code, or the thing that the model logic used to make the model run. All of that will be available to the public through apps like, what was that app called again? The one, Higgsfield AI will probably still give you access to the Sora 2 video generation model. But in terms of it being a commercially free available model for the masses, that is no longer the case. Might be for the best, but there will always be another Hydra to take that one Hydra's head's place, or three other Hydra's heads to take that one Hydra's place. So yeah, well, now that we have gone through that, let us move on to going out into the room where I said hello to my mom and my sister, and I decided to try writing in my journal, but I couldn't think of anything to write. But because I knew that Sora was shutting down, I thought, well, I could at the very least say some video ideas in it to see what it would come up with. So I decided to recreate a scene from SpongeBob, where you remember, if anyone has seen SpongeBob, you might remember a scene where he's going after Plankton, when he's the boss of the Krusty Krab in that one episode where he switches lives with Mr. Krabs. Sees him and he's like, "What do you want from me? A promotion?" And then SpongeBob's like, a promotion?" And then he's like, "Yeah, kid, you're on register now." And he's like, "Register?" And a little fuse is on his head, and when it hits the end, his entire head explodes. So I decided to recreate that scene, me and my mom and AI, and it was I generated 2 videos, I downloaded them. The results, while funny, made me look really hilarious. So yeah, there's for my and my family eyes only, but it was pretty funny. Afterwards, I was invited by my sister and my mom to chill with them outside while they were doing some artwork. So I went outside with my sketchbook. I drew them as they were drawing. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. They had some like mystical Indian music playing in the background, which was really cool. It reminded me of that recent Gorillaz video, music video that recently released. We got a call from our family friend saying that they're on their way with pizza from Papa John's, as well as some A&W and some monkey bread from Papa John's and a taco salad. So they arrived. We had everything set. I was asked to tune up the latest episode of the show Fallout that we were on, so I did that. We had our pizza ready. I got everyone a soda, and we sat down. We watched this new episode. It was really interesting. This episode was about the two main characters are now in this vault, but there's something different about this vault. It's not like the vault from the beginning of the show where it's more secure. Everyone's kind of like trying to do their part to better their own personal like vault society. But in this one, there's like people who are mutated, and there is the weird cultish vibes about this vault, and there's some mysteries that are uncovered by the end that are really freaky and ultimately lead to a ending that makes you go, oh my goodness. And then we have the guy who was like part of the Brotherhood of Steel, who was a squire who decided to take the suit, but then he wanted out, but then he was told by one of the people who run the area, the vault, that he's welcome to stay. They even gave him his own room. He decided to go in the room, and he ended up really liking it. Like, had all of his amenities met. Like, there was a TV, literally just plays like waterfalls or like, open fields. Like, there's no story. It's just that. And I guess if you've never seen TV before, it's probably the most entertaining thing you've ever seen in your life. Like, the whole novelty of seeing like nature playing on a screen is probably enough to make you go, whoa. And then, he takes a shower, he puts on a robe, he eats caviar, and it really does feel like the lap of luxury. And he gets to the point where he starts trusting these people. He's like, yeah, you know what? This is cool. I'm down staying here. But the lady who realizes something's up when she talks with a manager of the establishment, who just so happens to be a Cyclops, tells her not to go to Vault 12. She finds that suspicious. She decides to go to Vault 12 after some weird ritualistic event happens that catches her completely off guard near the end of the episode. And then she finds out, that this place is really concerning and creepy. And so she decides to go to Vault 12 to see why they didn't want her to be there in the first place. And what she finds is that a bunch of crazy, whacked up experiments happen there. And she's found out, and now they're taking her in. We don't know what's going to happen to her, but it's probably not going to be anything good. We even get an update of the Ghoul character, where we see his former life in the past before the Ghoul, where he was making advertisements for the vaults. His wife became a vault employee for Vault Tech. Then the actor had a friend, a Native American friend, who stated that there was a big conspiracy going on that potentially could lead to the end of the world, because Vault-Tec can't sell vaults if the world doesn't end, so they're going to end the world no matter what, which, I mean, in real life, that would be terrible because you're destroying the world's natural resources and making it hard for people to live in a radioactive charged landscape. Clearly, that's a terrible idea. But, in the world of Fallout, I guess they need to create their own lore to make it make sense. So there you go. But yeah, that's where that's going. It's very interesting seeing how this is all playing out. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how things go from here. Well, the Ghoul guy, though, he does get taken into custody. Apparently, there's a government in this area that makes organ harvesting a legitimate business for some reason. And then the cowboy guy ends up taking out the dudes who took him in after meeting the president of this location. he decides to look at a picture of a lady he found familiar. I think it might be his wife. There is this flashback in the episode where he does have a conversation with his wife about how, like, the freedom he fought so hard for seems to be taken away because, like, you're not allowed to do what you want in these vaults. It seems like a weird communist style of living that goes against the values that he thought he was promoting. So yeah, we got some character conflict there that's really interesting. So yeah, that's pretty much the episode. Really looking forward to seeing where this story goes. Very intriguing. I then played a bit of Zelda Breath of the Wild on my Nintendo Switch. I was playing the level, there's no levels in the game, but I was selecting a mission where you have to go to this river area and find treasure in, like, near a golden triangle is what the description said. It was really vague. I was looking on the map. I did not see a triangle anywhere. I assume that, oh, you have to go on the boat. They give you the raft and then go towards a triangle-shaped island and then grab treasure with your, magnetism ability and then bring it back to the guy. But I didn't see any indication of a triangle-shaped island, so I genuinely don't know how to do that. Might have to look up a guide for this one. I know that's a cop-out, but I don't know what to do. After playing that for a bit, I decided to take my vitamins, brush my teeth, take some mouthwash, bring the trash cans up, because today was trash day, but tomorrow they have street sweeper coming in, sweep up the roads, and if you don't take the trash up, you get a penalty. As I was doing this, I was listening to a new PewDiePie video where he was talking about how you need to gain your own agency back and not let the YouTube algorithm or any of these new algorithms eat up your attention. So I thought that was really interesting. Yeah, once I brought those bins up and I did everything I needed to do to get ready for bed, I turned on the record button here and started recording. And that's pretty much my day to day. Overall, I find a day simultaneously relaxing, nice, but a little uneasy at the same time. And the reason I say that was because of me not really contributing towards my future currently, because I just choose to distract myself instead. And I'm worried that if I continue down this path, it's going to cause me great hardship in the future. So doing these videos definitely does help build an awareness of that. And, sometimes it's just going to autopilot, list out things that happened today, and then just move on and do pretty much the same thing the next day. But I'm hoping that if I can remind myself of what I did, like what I did to set myself up good versus what I did to keep things base level, I think is important. At the end of the day, though, I did enjoy my time with my family, and I'm ready to work tomorrow. Let's do this. So that's going to do it for now. I'm going to edit this video, I'm going to publish it, and I'm going to go to bed. So thank you for watching, very much appreciated, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye, everybody, and take care.